Hello, this presentation is addressed to the administrators and teacher leaders of Lakeland High School. This proposal is intended to provide a training solution to equip teachers to engage, teach, and impact those around them. To begin, I would like to ask two questions which I believe will assist in placing us in the proper frame of mind. The first question is, how would you describe the students of Lakeland High School? The second, what strategies need to be included to engage effectively the most of those students as possible? One of the greatest responsibilities of a Lakeland teacher is to design content lessons which engage each student in a diverse classroom environment. Here are some fast facts about your students to put this diversity into perspective. There are 652 students enrolled at Lakeland High School. Roughly 78% of them are white, 17% are Latino, and small numbers of African American and Asian American students make up the rest. 46% of your students receive free or reduced lunch. 16% of them are English language learners. Now, for those 652 students, there are 43 teachers who service them, and over 50% of them have less than 10 years of classroom teaching experience. This provides us with a couple challenges to consider. More than half of our teachers rely on training they received in best practices before entering the profession. An almost as large number of teachers have not received much training regarding classroom best practices in many years and instead rely on their experiences to inform their day-to-day decisions. In light of these challenges, we are left asking, how can we train and equip Lakeland teachers to design lessons that are effective and engaging to meet the educational needs of such a differing student population? The solution is to train these novice and veteran teachers together in classroom best practices in a collaborative environment that allows them to learn from each other's experiences as well as what the experts have to say. As demonstrated in previously submitted solution proposal documents, the research clearly expresses that how a teacher plans a lesson makes just as much of an impact, if not more so, than the actual implementation of that lesson. When it comes to planning for the lesson, teachers should focus on four distinct things: specific content and its end assessments, higher order questions, student-centered activities, and opportunities for students to collaborate with each other. First, a teacher needs to decide in generalities and then specifics what course content needs to be taught in a specific lesson, and then how to assess the level of learning and comprehension of the content. Planning the end assessment to its content at the beginning provides the teacher the opportunity to reflect on whether or not the chosen assessment will accurately reflect how well the student has learned the material. Second, after planning the end assessment, the teacher should use the chosen content and, along with a set of power verbs like those found in Bloom's taxonomy, develop a list of higher order thinking questions. Preparing higher order questions and writing them out allows the teacher to determine whether or not chosen content is appropriately rigorous to the student and provides the teacher with a general idea of where a content revision can or should be made if it is necessary. Next, the teacher should begin planning student-centered activities which allow for students to apply newly gained knowledge during the lesson immediately after it to complete a task. Research from Brenda as well as Vermette et al. Both concur that when students are challenged to complete a task that is authentic in nature, meaning it resembles some sort of a real-world problem or situation that they will experience outside of the walls of the high school, the studies show that the students will be more likely to complete it. These same studies also report that engagement levels in students are typically higher when students are challenged to complete these authentic tasks. Lastly, teachers should not neglect the opportunity to provide students with opportunities to collaborate with each other to complete tasks. Further research confirms that when students are involved in social constructivist settings, they engage deeper and make even more significant meanings of content. Now, having addressed these critical considerations in lesson planning, how do we train our Lakeland teachers to do this effectively and consistently? To answer this, I would like to propose a 5-session training plan to address our need. Session 1 will begin with activities for teachers to reflect on their own classroom practices. including what they have done which has been successful and what could be improved upon. They will be presented with data about their students and be asked to reflect on student engagement throughout their school year. Through cognitive coaching, teachers will be led to identify the problem on their own. Now, having them identify this issue, let's call it, will create the necessary buy-in to propel them through the rest of the training sessions. Session 2 will begin with a review of the staff-identified lesson design issue and a reminder of why the work we will be doing together is so critical. Then, teachers will be asked to select a content unit they have taught in the past and isolate the specific content pieces which they teach. After selecting the content, teachers will choose appropriate end assessments and, using each other for feedback, decide whether the chosen end assessments will accurately allow students to demonstrate the depth of content learning which has taken place. Session 3 starts with a brief review of the content and assessment selections made in Session 2. Teachers will then collaborate with each other using the depth of knowledge charts and Bloom's taxonomy worksheet to develop their own higher-order thinking questions to ensure academic rigor in the content unit. Then teachers will begin to reflect on how these questions could be answered and evaluated throughout the lessons and unit. Session 4 asks teachers to select one higher-order question they created in Session 3 and plan an authentic task around that question, ensuring that the end result of the task somehow reflects on a real-world problem which students would have to solve. After creating the task, teachers will determine whether the task could be a collaborative effort, and if so, they will then adjust and tweak that task to make it a collaboration opportunity. In the last session, Session 5, teachers will share their plans with their colleagues to receive feedback. After this, teachers will be able to use the rest of the time to fine-tune the plan they have created or begin working on another one. Having presented this training proposal, the next steps are to determine whether all teachers should participate in this training plan or whether it's just the heads of each department. Once the audience for this training has been selected, they should be asked to gather up one content unit they have taught previously along with a sample set of lessons from it. This concludes the training solution proposal presentation. Thank you very much for your time and attention today.